Hello, everyone. I'm Vaishnavi Desai, the host for this session, and welcome to this session on the future of manufacturing, unlocking innovation. As you all are aware, cloud computing is now transforming the manufacturing landscape, enabling organizations to embrace agility, resilience, and efficiency. Industry 5.0, which emphasizes collaboration between humans and smart systems, is driving this shift by integrating AI, IoT, and ML into a secure, scalable cloud infrastructure. Manufacturers are also converging on secure end to end data center, cloud, and network solutions and leveraging AI to balance efficiency with human centric values, sustainability, and adaptability. Alongside this, strategies for cost optimization, multi cloud adoption, and regulatory compliance help businesses stay ahead of the curve. This session, organized by ETCIO and Sify, will help you understand the cutting edge solutions which are instrumental to keep manufacturing units ticking and making them future ready. Joining me in this session to provide insights are speakers Damayanti Bandopadhyay, Group Head Digital Transformation and Innovation for Mahindra Group, Mayank Holani, CFO of Indian Synthetic Rubber, and Anitosh Halder, SVP and Business Head, Cloud and IT Managed Services of Sify Technologies. Welcome, Damayanti, Mayank, Anitosh. Glad to have you on board.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you,
Vaishnavi.
Vaishnavi.
Before we begin the session, I would like to leave some housekeeping instructions for the audience. If you have any questions regarding the session or any insights during the session, we will also be doing a panel and understanding insights from Damayanti, Mayank, and Anitosh. Kindly leave them in the chat box available to you. Post the discussion, we will get panelists to address one of those. Thank you so much. Without further ado, I leave the floor to Anitosh to take us through some of the insights on how manufacturing and innovation are now going side by side. Anitosh, all over to you.
Thank you so much, Vaishnavi, and welcome everyone. So we have a quick presentation for you, which we wanted to showcase that how the digital transformation happening in India, and it is pretty much evident that the way the way we the continuous improvement and transformation that is coming up, and it is backed by the new age technologies which is powering the entire future of manufacturing, and that is what exactly we will be focusing on this particular call. So if we go to the first slide, Grima. So this is known to every one of us, right? It is pretty much the most important part is the 100 billion annual FDI, which is going to come in the coming years for the Indian manufacturing industry, right? The 520 billion of GDP by 2027 will be coming from the PLI for the government initiatives. And the infrastructure, especially in the corridor of Delhi and Mumbai, that is getting for manufacturing around 23,000 crore. That kind of investments we are looking at. And this is very evident how the manufacturing industry will take the strides. And most important part of all these strides is the technology and innovation. Especially, we keep on hearing about AI/ML, IoT, all kind of technology transformation that is happening. But these are definitely an outcome the business need today in manufacturing. And that is what we wanted to touch upon in the coming slides. So if you go to the next one, this slide is basically the framework of the 5.0, which manufacturing is following today. It definitely looks at the human-centric collaboration that can be automated. The personalization, the tailored products can be made available. Obviously, looking at the sustainability, and overall, the most important part is the security. So all of this, if it is the forefront, the technologies which is backing this up is majorly on the AI/ML-led automations or AI/ML-led, I will say, smart factory innovations, or even a supply chain management to get into any work from anywhere. Modern apps and platforms are becoming very, very important, which is backed by the data security and privacy. And obviously that brings the process standardization, which will help the journey of 5.0 to come in picture. In that note, if manufacturing, investing, and they're looking at the industry is definitely going towards data-powered, AI/ML automated, standardized process to come out with the business outcomes. That leads us to the next slide. This is what we are hearing as in Sify, right? What are the things, how we can make the operations efficient? And when we say operations efficient, the discussion is no more only locked to IT. How IT is enabling business operations to be efficient. how the quality of AI is improving. And when we say AI, it is just not restricted to IT. The production house, the shop floors, and even the supply chain management data is important for bringing the AI into picture. What is a digital twin and how we are getting used to it? And this is a part, or this is a step that happens when the AI really hits it. So all of this is becoming a very important aspect, what we hear in our discussion. And obviously, all of this is about experience, bringing more experience and how the optimization of the cost can be built. So keeping that in mind and whatever we hear, our perspective towards manufacturing in one slide coming up is very clearly the use cases is transform the core and innovate or modernize the edge, and then make the BCP available and make the architecture high available, which can also help the work from anywhere concept. While these are the use cases, the benefits is pretty clear. The modernization in the application, be it ERP or CRM that we see, which helps the faster digital adoption, which enables the age to be more agile, to get into the more OT and IT adoptions, which helps in the overall supply chain management point of view. BCP is the most relevant part of it. Business has to be continuous, and it has to be highly available. And all of this leads or helps how it is helping the business to work from anywhere, right? Work from anywhere is just not the IT users working from in a hybrid model. For manufacturing, when a factory produces and moves towards the warehouse or the logistics part of it, how that is seamless and it is online or real time. How very important part is the distribution side of the manufacturing, which is a big ally, or I will say partnership, that they bring into their business to the forefront for their customers, from B2B to C, from business to consumer. That's where the experience comes into picture, and hence working from anywhere or accessibility from anywhere becomes very imperative. And all of this needs security. So this is what, it's a busy slide. While we understand the use case and benefits, this is in each of the buckets how Sify link their services and solutions and can be a one-stop show for the manufacturings. While that is what we do for the manufacturings as a end-to-end. Can you move to the next slide, please? I think the most important discussion that is happening across, and it was there for last 5-6 years, how we can make the manufacturing more smarter, especially the edge plants and a smart factory. We call it IoT 4.0 now. 5.0 digital initiatives. For us, the theme is very simple: how we can expand the network, because even investing in the modernized application, even putting the right infrastructure in the plant, even we wanted to go to cloud to access, you need connectivity. If you cannot connect to the remotest of the plants, it is very tough for emerging out of these investments for the right business outcome. So for us, the first and foremost thing is that the power of network that we have across India, how we are expanding and helping the manufacturing industries to get into this connected factory mode in real sense. Second thing that we follow is move data securely to applications and analytics. So one is the applications and data which belongs to the manufacturers, but it has to be secured. There are n number of recent past news that has come up on ransomware attack and all. So we majorly not only expanding the network, we also focus on the security part of it and make it a secure data transmission or a data usage. And we focus majorly on the security part of it beyond network also. It is just not secure network. It is also the IT infra, the application, the end user data, and we follow the compliance and regulations here very, very tightly for the manufacturing companies. And obviously, these two, if it is corrected and it is there in place, it gives us a route towards the IoT edge data, and that's where our investments in the edge computing area, what we have done, which we can give you as a CPU or a GPU as a service, or even FPGA, where our power of our not only our cloud, which is backed by certifications like NVIDIA or SAP, it is also the orchestration layer that we have built with the hyperscalers, because we are the fastest hyperscaler adjacent cloud today in country. As you all know, the major three hyperscalers are part of our data center for their services. Hence, we can leverage that orchestration layer between hyperscaler to a private cloud to give a experience where the fixed workloads you can work with us on our cloud, and the workloads which needs agility you can go with hyperscaler. This also enables, because we are not restricting any of this layer to any kind of OS or virtualization, and we are flexible and open to it. It also enables the edge cloud in the plant locations that you can create as a private cloud, which can be part of the same network, which we can give you an extension or to your core or any of the hyperscalers workloads that you can use, keeping in mind the data localization point of view on the plant. So this is a very, it's more than a platform. We will say it's an architecture that we definitely look at. And this is a solution that we have brought in very specific to the need of manufacturers. On that context, if we do help the IoT with the 5.0 movement, as I said about the three areas, that expansion of network, data security, and sovereignty point of view, then with the edge cloud enablement, I think the most important aspect is that our data center positions, right? The cloud and the data centers that we are positioned, we are the fastest to the hyperscalers today, below 1 millisecond, and that gives us the edge for your ERP or CRM or any kind of SaaS cloud. If you choose of any of the cloud providers to give you the fastest latency, to choose a hybrid IT architecture. And the philosophy Sify believes is available zone concept, be it in our cloud or be it in hyperscaler. We make it a available zone architecture with the proper GRC in place. Okay. In that context, if I go to the next slide, this is a differentiator that we have brought into it. Agreema, can we just move to the next slide? Yeah. This is a differentiator we have brought to it, where our Sify CloudInfinit, which is towards not only the business as usual, which is giving you the infrastructure as a service, as you see on the left of the slide of the window. It is also looking at beyond the PaaS services or the BCP point of view, bringing the operational efficiency. And the most important investment that we have done, creating this in-house IP, is the multi-cloud management platform, which gives you a unified view. For you, it is a simple unified view where you can seamlessly log in and take the workload distribution within any of the cloud, be it Sify Cloud or any of the hyperscalers. This is a very unique point of view that we have created in-house. Beyond that, we have also created a FinOps, because this gives you a pattern, and that FinOps basically runs over it to help you optimize and control the cloud usage as per the historic data that is there. So our cloud motion is just not an infrastructure. It is about an experience with an operations, keeping in mind the cost control and the GRC needs of manufacturing. If you go to the next slide, please. This is a very important slide. As I just touched upon GPU, all of us are hearing about AI. I think our fundamentals go 2 steps back, and that starts from the foundation. We have made our data centers liquid cooling ready, okay, and the kind of consumption power we have. Basis that NVIDIA came out and certified 3 of our data centers as the first data center provider to have DGX certification to host that kind of workloads which is needed for AI ML. And beyond that, we also invested in a GPUs with NVIDIA, which enables the data layer or the data framework or the data models that you want to create, be it on per hour, per week, per month, or a per annum, flexibility. Because at the end of the day, it is about efforts which needs an outcome. And for that, we have created a kind of a pay-as-you-go model as per the need. So that's a flexibility we bring. Let's go to the next slide. I have already touched upon our journey with the hyperscalers, but this is where we are very different from any other partners with the hyperscalers. So when it comes to DC and cloud strategy, which the public cloud players or the hyperscalers brings the infra part of it, We can back it up with an hybrid solutions on DR on our cloud, or the advisories and the managed services that we bring. Then in the app migration and modernization point of view, while the services comes from the hyperscalers, the entire architecture around the microservices or DevSecOps, along with some of the pertinent SAP expertise is needed beyond just basis support, be it BI support, that kind of COE we have in-house. Security is a very, very important aspect for us, and we were the first in the country as a service provider to come out with the SOC in 2005 as a telecom service provider, while we were the first also in the country to have the enterprise data center. But security, where we back the entire CSPs with our SOC and managed security services, be it cloud native or non-cloud native, to build the hybrid security architecture. Customer experience, while the tools and the platforms comes from the cloud service provider, the automation, the entire digital workflow or the SOPs, and taking it further to a digital asset management point of view is a service that we bring in over and above that. And anything to do with the package industry solutions, we lead from a solution point of view and create the infrastructure and manage it with the digital initiatives, and it is always outcome based. And and at the end, the workplace modernization, it can be any modern workplace suites from the hyperscalers available. We as a system integrator can migrate, implement, and manage services. So in all aspects of an IT towards the business, this is how we stand with our hyperscale business or the cloud point of view. Yeah. So that brings to the last slide of mine. This is where we are investing, and where I started the investment of India towards manufacturing, and now where I'm ending is how Sify is investing in this philosophy. So network infra, we are going to be one of the largest in the country, and by coverage, and also by speed. Data center by capacity, not only by the number of data centers, the kind of power capacity that we are building, and already 14 of them is already on live, and most of them will have a power capacity which can take easily the AI/ML workloads to the next level. From the cloud AI and security point of view, we are absolutely investing on the GPUs and FGPUs of the world, which with the operations efficiency around CMP and the cloud anywhere, which is the managed cloud platform. And we are trying to build an integrated motion of security and network and cloud together, because at the end of the day, that experience is not only what cloud you take, it is also about connectivity, it is also about latency, and it's also about security. And lastly, it is our people, it is our resources, which is the power of Sify, because we being an engineering company, we are building our SMEs across, and it is absolutely certified, be it on any of the cloud, hyperscaler point of view, or any of the infrastructure OEM or security OEMs point of view. So that is, as an organization, our philosophy, and this is how we have already invested, and we will take our investment forward. And most of you have seen, as our chairman has already announced, that we will go for a 5 billion investment in couple of coming 3 to 4 years, which is the mantra this investment will grow. So in that context, I'll end my presentation, just to make it very crisp that our partners, we are a partner agnostic when it comes to hyperscaler. We are definitely with NVIDIA's playing that in the AI/ML game, and we are invested in platforms internally, which is AI ready or AI led, which takes the philosophy of the different touch points of an IT to bring business outcome. So on that note, thank you everyone for being with me in this presentation. Thanks, Vaishnavi.
Thank you so much, Anitosh, and thank you for walking us through all the initiatives and all the innovation that Sify is coming up with to ease for innovation in manufacturing. Now, on the same veins, let's continue this conversation towards manufacturing and also how innovation comes into the process and how do you future-proof as well. So here I would like to bring in Damayanti and Mayank as well. Anitosh, you'll stay with us for the panel. Without further ado, let's begin the session and gain more insights from our esteemed speakers. Damayanti, my first question to you, how have cloud-based systems fast-tracked innovation in manufacturing, be it, say, in production process, data integration, or supply chain collaboration?
So to your question on how has cloud fast-tracked, okay, I would say that there are actually multiple reasons how cloud would have fast-tracked the whole journey, assimilation of factory modernization, workplace modernization, integration of different business processes. Anitosh mentioned about integration of supply chain with manufacturing, and then logistics and reverse logistics. See, what cloud does at the first place is, it is essential to normalize the data and make the data more permissible. So with a cloud-based infrastructure in place, and even if you have a SaaS solution which is sitting on your cloud infrastructure, and even if it's a multi-cloud environment that an organization has enabled, your different systems, the data from the different systems will get ingested, and the data normalization, first of all, will become easier. So for an organization to capitalize on the transaction data or the supply chain data, on the business process data, on the shop floor data, the aggregation of data becomes easier. Second of all, because it is modular in nature, and the scalability is relatively easier to scale up and down. Basically it's more flexible, and therefore more responsive to the business demands and fluctuations. It becomes easier to manage the overloads, workloads, plan the seasonalities and the business cycles better, which therefore ensures minimal business disruptions. Thirdly, I think with added layer of security coverage that gets ensured. While people may think that this is why it's an oxymoron, because cloud and isn't on-prem or secured. With large platform players providing multi-cloud environment and the amount of layer of inbuilt security that we also demand from our existing partners who are the large cloud service providers, there are certain global standards and regulatory inclusions that get inbuilt within these practices. So therefore, a lot of the overhead, gets eliminated, which we also call it by the language of, in business terms, that, a lot of your OPEX is getting eliminated. Yes, it's getting transferred into CAPEX, but then overall, it is leading to a better business outcome and a better business value. So I think it's a very broad question, but long story short, I would summarize in 2-3 points. One is business permeability, data integration, security, and overall scalability and access to, or rather support to the business process. I think these are the few enablements that any hybrid or multi-cloud environment will offer to a business, which is what we have seen in the last few years through cloud adoption. The transformation from on-prem to cloud has really given all these organizations a platform to think about AI and all the large-scale digital transformation that we hear in the market today. So all the use cases, the backbone of that, the baseline of that, starts with the cloud adoption.
So hinging on that, how are technologies like AI, ML, or even IoT, which is very important for manufacturing, coming into play with your cloud strategy?
So IoT, we'll get into a little bit of predecessor of IoT, right? So, we had SCADAs, PLCs making way for IoT, which we are now calling it factory of the future. I think Anitosh mentioned about IT-OT integration. So I think somewhere the bottom line or the baseline starts with the IT-OT integration. So, when you talk about manufacturing shop floor, to be specific, there is involvement or a integration, three-dimensional integration of, let's say, a ERP system, a manufacturing execution system, and MES or equivalent, and often at times a PLM system, which basically means that the ERP and the PLM systems are supporting your manufacturing execution system. That is making your OT network robust. To support that OT network, you have your IT systems, infrastructure, firewall, servers, etc., to support that OT. And that OT data and the IT convergence, has been the first stepping stone to achieve any smart factory or factory modernization initiative. So even before we roll out an MES implementation, we would do all this base work of looking at what would be our IT/OT convergence points, and how do we make sure that they are not just unified, but they're also secured, because that's the first layer where data breach and all those transaction gaps can happen. So, IT/OT, when that integration is achieved, then on top of that, the smart machines that you have today, which are IIoT enabled, that data can be the next layer of data fabric, which can sit on top of your data architecture, which can then be mined to produce a lot of predictive insights such as downtime maintenance, health equipment health analysis, predictive insights, quality, computer vision, defect reduction, and all of that. But the first point becomes your your IT systems integration, then followed by IT OT integration, and then you can think about how to capitalize on your smart machine data, which is what you're referring to as IIoT.
Thank you, Damayanti. Before we move to the next section on edge computing, I would request my team, Ragini, could you please display the first poll question for the audience? So audience, here we have a poll question for you. The question will be on for 10 seconds, and we would like to know your insights. So what are the primary drivers for your organization to extend innovation from cloud to edge? Here's a poll question before we move on to the edge computing part, which is very important in the manufacturing right now. What are the primary drivers for your organization to extend innovation from cloud to edge? Keep it for 5 more seconds, and then Ragini can display the results for us. All right, let's have the results. 35% voted for improved operational efficiency, followed by AI and machine learning capabilities, as Damayanti also mentioned and Anitosh also mentioned in his presentation, followed by real-time data processing and enhanced security. I think we need to mull a little more on the enhanced security part. All right, so let's keep the momentum on. Can we have the second poll question, please? All right, how far along is the organization in modernizing its edge environments? Very important question as to where in the maturity curve do you lie? How far along is the organization in modernizing its edge environments? Question will be on display for 5 more seconds, and then Ragini will show us the results. Right. Can we have the results? 44% are in the implementation stage, good, and then followed by 36% in the planning stage. And a couple of them have not started, and 8% are fully modernized. Wow, that's an insight. Thank you so much, Ragini. We will come back to more poll questions, but taking this data ahead, let me continue. Damayanti, I'll still need your input on this. We need data processing at this shop floor for critical operations. How will edge computing enable real-time decision-making and predictive maintenance within manufacturing ecosystems?
So edge computing is, like its name suggests, it gives that, the cloud computing, the PaaS layer, the infrastructure to ingest the OT data, smart machines data, and perform the algorithm on the cloud layer itself, thereby making the reports and dashboards, which are one would have default reporting system, coming out of your manufacturing execution systems, making those reports and analysis far more robust, far more configurable, far more modular, far more intuitive and advanced analytics driven, AI driven. It comes with that inbuilt provisioning of ingestion of the data processing components that comes out of your OT and your device data as a part of their PaaS layer itself. So thereby enabling this faster transaction, which is why this will lead to the processing of the algorithm and the generation of the reporting analysis much more faster, much more real time, much more accessible as compared to what would need to be then in a batched manner or in a phased manner or in a slightly retrospective manner. One needs to take the download, perform a separate algorithm, and then project the next best actions or actionable insights in a more predictive form, right? So it will allow that flexibility to be inbuilt and thereby making the analysis far more consumable in future. And also I think from a overall infrastructure enablement point of view, the amount of flexibility, the amount of security, the amount of framework that is coming with, at least I know the edge computing that leading players like Google and IBM, etc. The kind of frameworks that they have around edge computing enablement, already factors in a lot of AI and predictive insights within them, like the IBM Garden framework. I think Google also has something. I'm forgetting the name, but yeah. So those the frameworks that the computing will provide will have an enabled layer of AI already inbuilt within it. So therefore, it's kind of making it to the next generation, after microservices, cloud computing microservices, modularization. Long back it started with service-oriented architecture, which led to microservices, and then it's kind of the edge right now, and we'll see more next.
Thank you, Damayanti. Anitosh, your input on this, please.
I think she has covered it absolutely right. Three things it is, and I think the questions was pretty. The answer to the questions has given everything. The outcome is clear. One is access. Second is how to use the data, and third is all of these to how make the operation efficient. Right. It is not about how faster the production. It's demand versus production. How that is made. How the entire supply chain management is on real time point of view, and more insights or predictive insights gives you a better model that you can create for business. So for me, Edge Cloud is just an enabler, right? And the most important part is the architecture and the framework, as Damayanti said. It's the most important part. So it is platform orchestration. You can have AI tools, but the innovation is totally dependent on the framework, that how we are capturing the data, how we are accessing the data, and how we are taking the help of the data insight as an implementation. That's an outcome of Edge Cloud. So it is only enabling the core innovations coming to the edge and helping it further going from anywhere use point of view. So that's how it is evolving. It's overall framework that is what it is about.
Thank you, Anitosh. We have one more poll question, and then we will move to the very important topic, that is budget. And we also have a CFO to talk about it. So, Ragini, without further ado, can we have the third poll question, please? Right. Which aspect of edge modernization is most challenging for your organization? What do you find challenging? Integration, ensuring data and security compliance, managing low latency requirements, or finding the right service provider? We will also talk about the green flags of a right service provider. That will be the last question of the panel. But right now, which aspect of edge modernization is most challenging for your organization? 5 more seconds, and then Ragini will display the results. All right, can we have the results, please? We go serial order wise: integration with existing system, and then ensuring data security and compliance, managing low latency, and finding the right service providers. These are neck to neck. All right. Thank you so much, Ragini. Mayank, coming to you now. What key financial considerations drive tech investment decisions?
Yeah, hi, good afternoon, everyone, once again. I think, one is in today's world, generally speaking, if you see, there is an oversupply of tech tools, right? Because everyone is coming up with a new tool, and so choosing the right tool is the key, which serves your purpose. Now, when it comes to financial considerations for driving tech investment decisions, I would classify them into 4 or 5 broad buckets. First and foremost is return on investment. Brings to the organization in terms of, say, cost savings. How does it reduces costs or improve efficiency or enhances productivity? Then whether a tech investment improves your revenue. Can it lead to a revenue growth? And third in this category, you can say maybe a payback period. Okay, how much time it takes to recover the investment. Then if you see the next one, next is we can see the financial metrics which are typically followed, say the NPV or IRR or return on equity, how it fares on those items, those heads. Then the third one is risk part, risk assessment or risk management, right? Because tech is changing so fast, we need to consider in mind risk aspect also for making any decision. So first is obviously what is the risk of obsolescence? Maybe if I invest today, tomorrow, 1 year down the line, if that investment becomes obsolete, then what are the integration risks? It came up in the earlier question as well. Okay, what is the risk or how do you integrate it with the existing systems, softwares, and infrastructure? That's a very big challenge, and more often than not, you come across these risks and challenges after you have already made the decision to go for a particular technology. And then obviously the security risk part, right? Because whether that tech investment it adds to your security or reduces your security, or it makes you more vulnerable to the risk, security risk. Uh, then I think another category of important aspect I would say is the scalability and flexibility. Because nowadays, because you have more and more startups and new age companies coming up, which are growing at a much faster pace, unlike a normal, age old organization, which goes in an organic way. So what if this tool is not scalable or flexible enough to cope with the movement or growth of the organization? That's another important aspect to be considered. And last but not the least is the total cost of ownership.
Mm.
This aspect is many a times we do, tend to forego, be it finance people or the operations people, because sometimes you just look at the initial cost. But what happens if, okay, you have a high initial cost, but your recurring cost is low, or vice versa, you have a low initial cost, but ongoing cost is very high. So this is to be considered. Then opportunity cost is the third one. What alternative investments or opportunities might be foregone by pursuing this particular investment? So these are, I think, some of the aspects which have to be considered or which are considered while driving any financial decision for driving. I mean, generally any investment or even for a tech investment to come at a decision which can last long and which can be in the benefit of long-term interest of the organization.
So, with the digital tech also moving at such a rapid pace, there's quite a evolution as well. There's AI coming in, ML coming in within security landscape also. There's encryption and several other things.
Yeah.
How has budgeting also evolved?
See, very good question and relevant one. And if you see budgeting in typically in any organization, especially the traditional businesses, which are, let's say, typically a manufacturing business or something, it is significantly evolved over time with the more and more digital technologies available and more tools available. So what used to happen pre-digital era, say maybe you can say before 2000s, we largely had manual processes. We largely had static budgets. So you set up a budget in the beginning of the year, and then you just keep following, comparing with it, because you did not have much of flexibility to adapt to any changing market conditions, as it required a lot of efforts, right? So you would typically start budgeting process for a reasonable sized company, probably 4 to 6 months or even more in advance of the start of a year, because the information, so much of manual work was involved, and then it led to a limited visibility, because it was a siloed process, one team sitting in a corner doing it with limited visibility into the real time performance of the organization or how it's evolving. Then we came into a digital era after 2000s where you had ERPs, right? So this ERPs provided a lot of automated financial information, data accuracy improved significantly, and then it enhanced the budgeting capabilities. Then it similar around that time, spreadsheets, budgeting softwares also started coming in, and all these things led to better collaboration with different stakeholders. So you are able to involve different departments, different functions, and get it more accurate and more comprehensive. Now, what's happening in today's time? We have cloud-based budgeting. So we have so many tools. I don't want to take any names, but you have so many tools which provide real-time visibility. You have automated workflows. You have much better collaboration amongst functions. Then we are into a phase where no more companies do an annual budgeting exercise and then forget about it. So more and more companies are moving towards a rolling forecast kind of thing, and different companies based on their business models have different frequencies of when they do rolling forecast. But typically those are not done more than a quarterly frequency. So you will find companies which are even doing monthly rolling forecasting. And then with the advent of artificial intelligence and machine learning, budgeting has improved significantly, right? Because these now we are no more dependent on somebody doing a manual work of a large historical data in Excel spreadsheets. Rather, these tools analyze the historical data trends and provide very good predictive insights to make informed budgeting decisions instead of just relying on somebody's kind of his own feelings or his own intellect. And then this enables companies to respond quickly to a changing market condition. Okay, you do a budgeting exercise in the beginning of the year, you do a target setting exercise in the beginning of the year, but then now companies are much more frequent in adapting to the changing situation and adjust their budgets or targets and the in accordingly. Then it also helps in getting into an integrated business planning exercise, right? Which helps with operational planning and enabling companies to align budgets with their strategic objectives also, and communicate to the teams how it helps in that. Because more often the problem is people don't understand how your budget or your targets are aligned to your long term and short term goals and visibility. And we have much more with these tools, we have much more advanced analytics and visualization tools available, which provide us very good real-time insights into financial performance. And a lot of decision making is now based on data instead of just based on somebody's intellect or somebody's gut feeling. That's
Thank
what.
you, Mayank. Appreciate your insights on this, and it was quite eye-opening as well. Thank you, Mike. Anitosh, coming to you, what do you think are the ways that manufacturing enterprises can optimize costs while implementing multi-cloud strategies? Any key approaches that have proven most effective?
So I'll take this opportunity because it's a CFO in front of me.
Yeah.
Whenever I meet the CIO or CFO, it is a simple question. 100 rupees is my budget. Can you make it 80 rupees? Use the 20 rupees for innovation. Okay. So it is as simple, right? So our mantra is very simple. Not only us, I think the industry is also looking from that angle. Any transformation which will happen, okay, it can only be backed with a historical point of view, right? And if historically the foundation is not efficient operationally, the transformation will never take place, correct? So if that is the point that we all agree, then cloud is what? Is an adoption of a platform. And then it becomes a platform to deliver the outcome, correct? In that case, if the continuous improvement the organization wants to take, like Damayanti was talking about their cloud adoptions, the lot of platforms that is available where they're already going and doing innovation transformation. Mayank was talking about available insights from a lot of SaaS providers or cloud providers, which is available, helping them in decision making. But in between that, there is something called usage of cloud, correct? So if we can, today, what is the problem? We are all gone to cloud. We understood cloud. The cloud rush happened in the time of the COVID situation. Then we started learning what is PaaS, IaaS, SaaS. We are seeing outcome. We went for it. I think the ROI was never thought through. Correct. So in that context, being a managed service partner with our FinOps and the multi-cloud platform, we are only focusing agnostically which service provider you are using. And with the FinOps story, how we are keeping your budget in control. And if not, with the historic data, we understand certain workloads which was working on, a hyperscaler, how we can bring it, back to a private cloud setup. So it's OpEx to OpEx also. At the same time, it doesn't need that much of hyperscale of, flexibility that was available for those workloads in there, and the cost is maintained overall. So it's a TCO point of view we look at. Second, I think the most important thing in cloud adoption where it went wrong in some of the cases is the ingress egress charges, correct? And that's where our absolute CloudInfinit story, what we have now derived into, is there. It's a fixed cost of bandwidth. You just connect us, and we take it forward. You don't need to pay for any data transfer, which is bit out of budget types, right? And that, I think that is the most important aspect that we brought in. And lastly, I think overall cloud point of view, be it hyperscaler or non-hyperscaler, the kind of AI, I will say from operational point of view, that everybody will say there is service management, which is AI led. I'm talking from the AI of the business outcomes of the business platforms for creating the LLM, right? That is the availability that now the Indian infrastructure service providers are moving towards, correct? It was only available to the hyperscalers. Now with the investments or with Nvidia, and somebody has written about DeepSeek, also I saw in the chat. Those kind of models. See, at the end of the day, DeepSeek, Nvidia is a name of an infrastructure platform. If you ask me that if I have to go and do something manufacturing as a service, then smart factory as a, these are all co-creation by customers. Each of the clients of the organization will have their own need. We have to move beyond the infrastructure play to that layer, co-create together the outcome, and then only a person like Mayank, who is sitting in the CFO, will see the ROI, or more than ROI, the return of not investment, the return of innovation is coming into picture. And that's where the budget will get, as he said, there are a lot of tools are available. We are doing investment in a lot of tools also, but the budget, the IT budget is no more towards what is fixed cost and what is run cost. I think security is a budget across the year is open, correct? And all this innovation, that budget will go up. So somewhere it has to go, that balance between these two is what we are focusing, and that's where we bring our FinOps story to help them.
Noted, Anitosh. Thank you so much. Thank you for addressing that question in the chat as well. So moving now to data security and regulatory compliance, which are key concerns. Damayanti, what best practices do you follow to ensure secure and compliant cloud adoption in manufacturing?
So I'll give this answer in two stages, right? One is that with the help of Mahindra's CISO practice, which is led by one of my counterparts, we have curated based on our last learnings, our own proprietary cybersecurity framework, which includes, it starts with the regulatory compliances that one has to, keep in check, and the regulatory compliances are, depends on business to business. For example, in a B2B and a B2B2C or a direct B2C, they are very different. So, for example, in our finance business, there are certain RBI related regulatory compliance and guidelines that we have to follow. Which means that practicing certain standards, practices, certain audit compliance, etc. And apart from the Indian standard financial regulations. In the B2C business, there is a lot of gearing up that one is doing for, to make sure that our businesses are compliant with DPDPA. And all of this is part of the cybersecurity COE that is, within a part of Mahindra's remit. Having said that, there are areas of times when we work with external partners to build, scale, deploy, originate, conceptualize applications which are bespoke, which are not market standards. For that, there is a very strong, security process that we follow before that gets deployed in the Mahindra environment, especially if it's a past deployment or it's a bespoke solution that is built somewhere and now getting hosted in our premises. Long story short, it gets followed by a lot of levels of VAPT, vulnerability discovery, stress testing, situational testing, firewall reviews, protocols, etc. And then finally it gets, only after it gets certified by our external VAPT partners, it gets deployed in the Mahindra environment. So I think that's a long story short in terms of how we've ensured that our AR data is safe and our client records, customers' data are safe, and we are operating within the guardrails of what's permissible by the regulatory constraints. So these three things are ensured in our overall cybersecurity framework.
Noted. Damayanti, before we move on to the next question, I have a poll question to post for the audience, and post which we will get back to you. Ragini, can we have the last poll question, please? All right. What are the key factors in choosing a service provider for cloud to edge integration? What makes you choose a green flag of a service provider for cloud to edge integration? Connectivity solutions, security and compliance, managed service offerings, or cost effectiveness? We will keep this on for under 5 seconds and then we will see the results. All right, Ragini, can we have the results, please? Okay, 36% voted for security and compliance. 33% voted for cost effectiveness, so those are in tandem. Then we have managed services offerings, and the last one is connectivity solutions. Thank you so much, everyone, for participating in this poll. All right, Damayanti, we would like to hear from you. What are your top considerations when selecting a cloud partner to ensure, say, scalability, security, integration with the existing manufacturing infra?
So, Vaishnavi, I'll answer this little theoretically because come in a setup within Mahindra where, as a group, there is a unified cloud strategy that has already been built and deployed way back even before I joined. So, as a group, we operate in a multi-cloud environment. It's a hybrid cloud, except for a couple of our businesses which need to be on-prem. Rest of all businesses are on cloud, and even the ones which are not, they are slowly going from on-prem to cloud migration. That journey is happening, right? So let me answer it in two parts for you. One is, when we are selecting an on-prem to a cloud journey, what are the considerations we make? Because I can't go back in the past and tell you that when we decided for the hybrid cloud environment, what went in the Mahindra's decision. But largely, I think the factors that get weighed down, and if I have to do a greenfield right now, for any other customer or any other setup, uh, the things that I would want to consider, right? One is all the factors that were listed in your poll questions actually carry significant proportionate weightage, from my consideration. And maybe with a slight bit of added percentage points to the security part, because in a multi-cloud environment you're exposing your data to different cloud platforms. But having said that, to your other point of when we are taking an on-prem to a cloud journey, how do we decide that which service provider of the cloud is better suited for which kind of business? I think a lot of it is defined by the business transaction volume, and therefore the cost economies of scale and the price point at which we have the alignment with that particular partner. There is a big portion that gets apportioned there, because the basic cloud service, there's a lot of commoditization that has already happened in the basic cloud service. There isn't much of a variation. What gets critical for bespoke solutions, particularly, I think connectivity is one big area. Like how well you want to connect with your, so does this bespoke solution which you're trying to put on cloud, does it need a lot of interfaces and interconnectedness, API connectors with SAP? If it does, then where do you have maximum of your connectors already inbuilt in your cloud environment? That would be one of the decision criteria. For example, if you don't have, let's say, a lot of inbuilt APIs with a service provider X, because your enterprise services or your ERP service, which is SAP in most of the companies, is with the platform Y, then platform Y becomes a uh, default choice, right? So a lot of integration considerations, depending on where your core infrastructure and enterprise systems lie, become one of the determining factors, followed by your security cost, scalability and other dimensions. So that's how we decide. And for some of the businesses where we are now going for a migration from on-prem to cloud.
Thank you so much, Damayanti. Mayank, I have one more question to you with regards to sustainability. We spoke about security, compliance, and every other factor. Sustainability is also becoming quickly a priority. How do you factor in energy efficient computing for manufacturing operations?
See, nowadays the sustainability aspect is becoming all the more important and is being considered by almost every organization in each aspect of their business, because not just because it's a regulatory requirement, but even if it's not regulatory requirement for you, your customers want to know, and even your customers are asking for it, and they have to report their supply chain aspects. So if I put it in a way to kind of how we look at it from that perspective, so one is obviously you do as a manufacturing setup, periodically you do a energy audit or to assess what is your current energy consumption, and then look at ways and means to reduce that, because it's a ongoing process. It's not something which you do once and it's closed forever. Then we have to identify energy intensive areas, right? Where, such as in case of IT related things, if you see the data centers, the server rooms, or even specific manufacturing processes, and then look at what's the technology available in the market and where you can cut down on the energy consumption. Now, in terms of energy efficient computing strategies, one is virtualization and consolidation. Say you have servers spread across at locations, or you consolidate. Virtualizing the computing resources, these things can reduce your energy consumption. Then probably going for energy efficient hardware, because sometimes you have a choice in between. Okay, I can continue with a certain hardware for a certain number of years, but it consumes more energy, or I can replace it today and I do a more of capex, but it's energy efficient over a period of time, and such as servers, storage, or networking equipment. Then power management is another aspect, which is so you have to have power management techniques and automated equipments, instruments, which helps in shutting down, say, idle equipments or using low power modes. Then also to have the overall better energy saving and things, you are also moving towards renewable energy sources, and within your premises as much as possible, you say, to install the solar and those things which we are doing. So whatever space is available, installing the solar power panels and saving the energy on that. Manufacturing operations optimization is another aspect where you have to look at energy savings, so be it process optimization or even the real-time monitoring and analytics and predictive maintenance. Predictive maintenance is one part which, in my view, helps a lot of energy savings because it reduces downtime and helps in saving energy if you are doing a proper predictive maintenance and a timely action on that. Then we also need to consider and kind of keep ourselves updated on what is happening in the technology world or what are the new technologies coming up. Because sometimes what happens, if I am in a setup, I'm working for say many years, that's why I've only seen what we do in our setup, but don't know what's happening it's very important to keep yourself updated. So what are the technologies emerging in the market? Say edge computing. Now, it can reduce your energy consumption and latency by processing data closer to the source. Or the AI and ML, they can help you optimize your energy usage or predict energy demand and identify where you can save energy. Then every organization need to have a sustainability roadmap, proper plan and goals to be identified. Then only you can achieve, because it can't be done by chance. So if you make a proper plan and then go on implementing and taking actions, you can achieve in a better way instead of just doing it on an ad hoc basis or just once in a while taking up it as a special task. That's what I
And
feel.
thank you, man. Yeah, that was quite insightful. Thank you so much. Anitosh, before we move on to audience questions, one last question to you. How Sify CloudInfinit helps organizations in streamlining manufacturing operations, and what are your next priorities as well in cloud demand manufacturing?
I think mostly I have answered this. I will take, I'll put up in between Mayank's answer and Damayanti. I want to bring in what is Sify's perspective, right? I think that is most important. First and foremost, Sify, as I said, 1995, the first ISP. So fundamentals of internet and connectivity, very important for us. Second, the first data center, enterprise data center provider in 2000. So the fundamentals of sustainability, renewable energy, PUE, this is very important, right? We host our clients or we give them a cloud services from our data center. Our fundamental is how we can make it energy efficient, be it an infrastructure that we invest or they invest in our data center to make the overall PU correct. The third is a security point of view, right? Being the first service provider in the SOC and being almost 2 decades into the SOC services, I think our understanding of the security aspects from network to the data to the infrastructure to the end user is very important. So that as a gamut, Sify first brings brings services for end-to-end and IT point of view. Second, when it comes to a transformation with cloud journey, they enable you to take the right workloads, the fixed workloads for the cloud that we have, that we call it as CloudInfinit, which we are making auto scalable ready now to become like an hyperscaler. Okay. And at the same time, on the right, we have all the hyperscalers with us with the lowest hyperscale HSNC. Beyond this is the experience which we are bringing from the managed cloud platform and the FinOps, as I was telling, which is helping in cost control. To sum up, this is Sify in end-to-end for any cloud journey that we bring in. including the sustainability piece which Mayank spoke about. And I think Damayanti made a very important point on API integration, which is very important when it comes to this edge clouding or IoT OT point of view. And that is where we are making a very big stride, because while we are not known as an application player, but we are creating a platform which can have API integration, because the full stack observability that we have brought as an IP from Sify, it is absolutely orchestration layer which it takes the batch and stream data, right? But it can integrate, it is open to integrate with any of the infrastructure operations tools or security operations tools or cloud operations tools or even network operations tools. I think with that, the API journey that we have got into in integration, we want to take it forward.
Thank you so much, Anitosh. And I'd like to take a moment to thank Damayanti, Mayank also for your insights and for taking time out for the panel. Let me take one audience question and then we can move forward. Anitosh, Supriya wants to know about the smart factory module.
I don't know what it is. See, at the end of the day, if it is ERP oriented, production engineering that is going on, the smart factory module is I will say one of the modules that comes from the ERP, right? Which needs to be digitized. For us, we don't provide us a smart factory module. It comes from the ERP or as per the production point of view. Our point of view is that you can host it in an infrastructure which can be cloud or it can be a captive setup, and we can enable it from central to the edge plant where the exact factory outcomes are happening. When the module comes into the picture, it is more of a software and application led ERP that journey that you're taking.
Perfect. Thank you, Anitosh. Supriya, I hope that answers your question, but if you have any further questions from the audience as well.
I think I would like to know the more in the answer, from the question point of view, exactly what it means, because factory model is different for infrastructure and application, correct?
Noted. So I think you can get in touch with the team as well. We will try and collate some resources available and provide as much of an insight possible. So thank you so much, Damayanti, Anitosh, and Mayank for your time. Thank you for ETCI and Sify team for facilitating this. And thank you for every audience member who took their time out and joined in for this. You've been a lovely audience, and this has been a very insightful session. And hope there are much more innovation and such collaborations and conversations coming up in the manufacturing, which is a very critical sector for India and the growth of the economy as well. Thank you so much. You've been a lovely audience. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, Vaishnavi and ET team for inviting us.
Thank you. Thank you, Vaishnavi. Thanks, the audience, and thank you, everyone, all organizers. Thank you for the invite.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks a lot.